Low altitude, low altitude.
Guys, are you sick of default P3D? Have you not got the money to buy add-ons that will enhance the visual look? Do you want a free pack of visual enhancement upgrades that covers the entire sim and makes it look like this? I'm only running my package and global base, and that is it. If you want it, come and get it. Watch this video and I'll show you how. Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Adam, welcome to another P3D video, and today I'm going to show you the latest update to my global enhancement pack. This could be classed as version 3. So I first brought out the global enhancement pack is when I took my 3 packs, the oceanic, the terrain and the sky pack, and just bundled them together into one. That was the version 1. Version 2, I had added some content, made some tweaks to it, and that became version 2. And again, I've been adding to the pack and making some tweaks, and this is version 3, and we're going to take off and I'll show you what is included in this pack. Disclaimer, this is for P3D version 5.4 only. In this pack there are shaders that are specific to that version of the sim. They won't work with 5.3 or 5.2 or 5.1 or 5.0. If you do want to use elements of this pack though in earlier versions of P3D, do so at your own risk, because the textures and the models have been specifically made for the PBR of 5.4, so you might get some differences in what you see here. So I've loaded into Russia, basically because famously, you know, there isn't that much land class data for Russia. That's good. There is no Orbex Russia LC or region pack. All I've got loaded into the sim right now is whatever default land class provides for this area, Orbex global base, and then my terrain and sea pack and atmosphere pack on top, and that's all. So I've come to an area where you'll mainly see my terrain pack, and we'll go through what is included into this pack and how you install it. It's pretty simple, but I will say this: it will increase your VRAM by 1 to 2 gig when installing it. There's about 7 to 8 gig of data in this pack, so just be careful when you are installing it that your graphics card can actually take it. So let's take off. So like I said, there's 3 packs in one plus some CFG edits. What is in the CFG? Basically, there is code in there to increase the autogen distribution globally, so more trees, more buildings. It will hit your performance. I've also removed the ability of showing 1 pixel per pixel in the sim. So basically, mainly AI traffic, I imagine this will affect, but off on the horizon, if it gets as small as 1 pixel by 1 pixel, it won't actually show up in the sim, and that actually saves a lot of performance. I've also changed the runway pappy lights to make them show a lot better, enabled large textures to load in at high resolution natively, as opposed to whatever your resolution is set by in the sim. I've also reduced the size of the default autogen texture, so anything that is default autogen will load in at 768 rather than 1024, and that actually saves a lot of performance as well. I've increased the amount of white light points that are allowed in the sim. Mainly you'll see that in the skies, because the default is 250, so only 250 points of white light will be visible in your sim at any one given time. I've increased it to 1,000. I've also improved the atmosphere scattering of light and color for the sim, and increase the radius at which the scenery will load at higher quality. So no more blurries, and increase the draw distance of texture requests. So no more black buildings. I've also given the scenery loader more time to load the textures in if you run a 60 FPS setup. If you have your frames set to something like 140 plus, then you might actually see things loading in a little bit slower. But if you're running a 60 or 30 FPS setup, they will load in a lot faster. I've also changed the camera system, which doesn't affect chase plane. This is when you bring in a new camera system into view, you know, like an in-picture one. It will actually share the same render as the world you're in. By default, if you do bring in a new camera, it renders an entire new world, or for what it sees, against yours. So you're actually running two versions of like P3D then, while you're running an in-camera thing, which is very hard on, you know, hardware. Whereas I've made it so where it actually loads in the same, it's a shared camera system basically. So that's what's in the CFG changes. What I've put in the pack, to install it, it's very simple. All you have to do is there is an effects folder, a scenery folder, shaders, HSL, and a texture folder. You basically just copy those when you unzip it, because it'll be a zipped up file in my Discord. You unzip it to a location, keep that on your hard drive somewhere, and then just drop in the folders. Obviously don't drop in the summer and the winter folder. These are specific, so if you're running a summer scenario, you'll put the summer file in here into where it's asking you based off what it says in the readme file, and if you're running in winter, then you'll drop in the winter one. We're in Russia and it's about April when I'm recording this, so obviously we're in the northern hemisphere. It's still classed as spring, but there is still snowy areas around. So that's how you install it. It's pretty simple. Now if you do any Orbex verification on your global files, or if you install a global product, you need to reapply my pack. So what does it include? Well, as you can see down below, we have got new higher resolution textures for land class, which go down to 50 centimeters per pixel, which gives you new fields, new rural towns, cities, farms. They're all regional textures and seasonal textures as well. It also includes new deserts textures and new snowfield textures. Now, this is all based, though, on the land class system in place. So we're in Russia. There isn't great land class coverage, so things might look a little bit mishmashed. In better land class coverage areas, they will look better. Again, if you've installed global base from Orbex, you then need to apply my pack over it to see the full effect. And the textures will show as they are requested by the land class data, okay? So we've also got new high resolution road textures, which actually you can see, if you look close enough, the markings on the roads, which if we see any roads, we'll be able to see that. There we go. You can actually see the markings of the road, the paint marks. There's also new rock textures, which you'll really mainly see on mountains only. But yeah, new 30 centimeter pixel rock textures and new mountain and snow grass vegetation textures that will cover. So you'll probably again only really see this in mountainous areas. It basically makes the texture, I mean, it looks a lot better, but also it defines what trees will be placed on it. I've also got new PBR 4K trees that will replace the default ones, and if you are running Orbex Terraflora, then you need to select the default models. Also, there is new rock formations that will appear on the edging of, like you can see here. So no more will the texture just drop down and stretch. There's actually a rock formation that will place over it, so it actually looks a lot better. There's alternate classification as well for autogen placement, so depending on what the texture is, depends on what the autogen will be, so you might actually see a different variation of trees and buildings appearing. Let's climb up here and let's get some height. And also there is new resolution for the default runways and the buildings. There is new textures for both of them, and I've also replaced the strobe effects for AI and default planes, so we can actually look at that here if I get my camera sorted. So there's the new wing thing, and also, well, you can't see it now because I've raised the landing gear, but if I lower it once more, you'll notice there is a new landing light there as well. We don't want that down. I've also changed the night sky. There's new terrain textures with more variation and seasons built within it. So if you climb up high and look down, you'll notice that there is a difference in the layering of the textures on the terrain. Again, this all depends on the quality of the land class data from which these textures get called for. So the better the land class, the better the sim looks. We're in Russia, we're in an area where there probably isn't that much great land class, so it kind of does look a bit skew-wifty. So that's what the default is, but you'll notice I think it looks much more naturalistic. This looks much more like spring, I'd say, rather than the yellowiness that kind of looks like FSX, really. And they're all in higher quality than the default ones, and most of them are in higher quality than what Orbex provide as well. It's not a replacement for Orbex, it's to work alongside Orbex, but you can use this instead of Orbex as well. So that's the land. The oceans, which unfortunately it doesn't look like we're anywhere near an ocean, so I can't really show you the full effect of the oceans, but we can go down to the rivers down here, follow that river. So the ocean, I've given new shoreline wave animations. So in certain regions of the world, the Orbex ones are kind of funky or basically broken, and don't look realistic scaled. So I've scaled the shoreline animations and made them a bit more realistic looking. I've also doubled the height of the waves. The P3D version 5 is run by Waterworks, which is a wave animation software, and I've basically increased that height so it actually looks a lot more realistically, and then placed photoreal water textures globally on the top of that as well, and specifically new Caribbean water textures. There's also new beaches and new coastline rock placement. So once we get down low enough, you'll notice a little rock formation on the lines, shorelines by water. So I don't know if it happens actually where it's mainly on large bodies of water, but we'll soon see if it happens on rivers. And that's basically the water, which we'll see in a second. And then of course there is the air. So there is a new volumetric clouds config. I gotta say it's more of a community effort than my own work, but it unlocks 6 layers of cloud. So by default, P3D only gives you 4 layers, and only 1 is ever active at any one time. In my previous packs, I have actually activated all 4 layers, but only 2 are visible at any one time. So now we have 6 layers, 6 cloud structure types, and again, only 2 can only ever be visible at any one time. That's just the way the sim is built. But you now have 6 types of clouds. So there is the water, and the new, well, you can't really see the shoreline wave animation or the rocks, but they are there. But they look a lot more realistically scaled and basically a lot more realistic. And of course, in the air, we not only have a new volumetric cloud, but we have a new reflections, lighting, and color shading system going on, which affects everything it touches, even the water, the textures, the plane. It's a complete revamp. So all layers of atmosphere now are active with 6 cloud types. I've also reintroduced the ozone layer that was placed in version 3 but removed for version 4. I've also given more realistic colors and lighting values for the atmosphere, so you'll notice the scattering and the like bloom goes off a little bit nicer now. There's dynamic reflections improved globally, which you'll really notice on metallic surfaces more. As long as they've been PBR'd correctly for version 5, then they will look awesome. If they haven't been PBR'd correctly for version 5, then they still will look better than they did before. There's also real nighttime stars in the sky, so not only have I tweaked the nighttime, but also the stars at night as well display in a realistic placement for all the stars and planets. So you have constellations in play. I gotta say though, this isn't my work. I am sharing a developer's work here who sadly passed away. This is a refined version of Stargazer, effectively, from Creative Design Studios. So the developer passed away, his work is lost and gone. I luckily still had it, I tweaked it, and I'm including it as part of this pack in a tribute to him. Also, I've darkened the clouds at night. Let me start my weather engine actually. Active Sky is the preferred weather engine, and you need to disable the Active Sky's ability to play with the volumetric cloud file. So that is the most preferred weather engine with my volumetric CFG. So like I said, I've darkened the clouds at night. So before they were actually very bright, and now they're a little bit darker, more realistic, I feel, and a bit more scarier, to be honest. Let's climb here. Let's get above them. What else have I done in the air? I've also introduced new 4K high-resolution ground poly placement for summer and winter. This isn't actually the air, sorry. This is the land, I forgot to mention. There's one for summer and there's one for winter. I think that's about it. So with the, I will say this, with the ozone layer reintroduced, you will notice a more brown hueiness at certain times of the day. So like sunset and sunrise. Let me get up here. So as it dips down below, you can actually see it's less red, but it's also a bit more brown. There it is on the horizon, and purpleness in the sky. I just think it looks far more realistic. And then of course you've got the night sky, which moves around the planet realistically, and there's that. And then of course the clouds at night time are even darker than they were before, unless of course there is a moon shining on it or a light source. Let's get down below and see what we can see. I've also removed the waffle effect. Not removed it, but weakened its ability to be seen. It's by nature, you can't just get rid of it. Unfortunately, the way True Sky is built, the way P3D uses it, you will always see square grids of clouds, but I have lessened that effect. The higher you climb, the more apparent it is. When you're at like this height, which is 20,000 feet or below, or even at 25, it isn't that apparent. You can't see it, and it looks awesome and goes out further. Again, will hit your GPU a bit harder than it did before. Let's take this break in the clouds. So I've also improved the nighttime lighting as well. So it's a lot more realistic and not so bright at night. And that's probably about it. I can't think of anything else that is in here. It's basically an entire world, overhaul that is free. So if you don't want it to look like default, you want it to look a little bit better, then this is, I'd say, how you do it. We're bombing down here. We're going really fast. You'll notice that there's a lot more buildings and trees everywhere in the sim now. and the scattering of atmosphere is a lot more natural, which kind of hides the fact that True Sky comes built with its own volumetric fog, which can be overbearing. But I find it, you know, absolutely fine. There's some of the rock textures there on the cliff edge. Let's see if we can follow this river up. So going around the world, you'll see a very big difference in the textures and how they're used. But yeah, I think it you know, it does enhance the sim totally. Looks a lot better, and yeah, it's all yours if you want it, guys. Total sim enhancement. So again, all I'm running here is my pack at Orbex Global Base, and that is it. There is nothing else at play in here. So this is as close to default as you'll get at P3D, and I've got to say, massive improvement on default. You know, until you're able to afford and invest some money in some like True Earth, or if you want to create your own footer reel, then this is as close, I think, as you'll get. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this. The link to download it is down below in my Discord, and the installation is so easy. There's a README file that tells you exactly what you need to do. And thanks for watching this video. And don't forget, I do run a competition of 50 euros of sim market vouchers. All you have to do with a chance to win is subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment down below in any one of my P3D videos. And at the end of every month, I go live with a vlog and give away, announce the giveaway winner, which I'll be doing after like in a couple of days of recording this video, to be honest. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.